Logic might dictate that in a downturn brought on by a pandemic, opening a new business would be a bad idea. But for this trio, a bartender, an actor who also bartended, and a former attorney, necessity bred invention. They're now in the business of polycarbonate dividers to help restaurants keep diners safe and separated.
Once the pandemic hit, I saw a little bit in the news about what was going on in Europe and what restaurants were doing to adapt there. And the three of us got together and decided it'd be a great idea to try and help restaurants out in New York City with some of the same measures that the restaurants in Europe were taking.
I was actually preparing to play the Beast in Charlottesville Opera's version of Beauty and the Beast for the summer, but that had to be cancelled, obviously. So I got into the business because I wanted to be useful.
I was bartending in a restaurant called Balthazar down in Soho in Manhattan. Yeah, I've known a lot of people in the business. I've been in the business over 15 years, and they helped us design the product and introduce it to many restaurants.
The company says business has been very good. They've made back their entire capital investment and are looking to expand. It's a sign of the opportunities created by the downturn.
Americans generally have believed historically, and still do now, that when there's destruction, there's creative possibility, right? If you have good credit scores and a little bit of affluence, the amount of money you can borrow at incredibly low rates is like nothing we've ever seen before.
Through the first 3 quarters of this year, dominated by the coronavirus, the U.S. saw more than 3.2 million new business applications, far surpassing last year's pre-pandemic figures, according to the U.S. Census Bureau.
With strong restaurant demand for dining screens, it makes good business sense to go into this market at this time. But there are companies betting against much bigger odds during this pandemic downturn.
In Midtown Manhattan, an office district with towers that now sit mostly empty, Music Kitchen opened its first casual eatery in October to little fanfare, light foot traffic, and limited seating. With healthy food bowl options mostly for takeout and delivery, it's targeting a post-pandemic clientele who want to eat healthy, safely, and on the go.
We have this idea like back in the beginning of the pandemic. At that time, when everybody's freak out of situations, we begin to think like, what's the people's life will become during the pandemic and after pandemic. So we find a lot of things will be changed. The ways people live, the way people eat, the experience of food will change dramatically.
Food startups are among the most popular businesses that have launched during the public health crisis, according to research firm Just Business.
There's some truth to the following. The American tastes that emerge from the pandemic lockdown won't be the same as the tastes that went into lockdown, right? So people are going to be forever changed, and there's probably going to be a serious shortage of restaurants and coffee shops and bars and theaters for that return.
Many of these startups are clearly betting on that return to business almost as usual. Li Ling Tan, CGTN, New York.